The Prime Minister returning home tonight after completing high-level meetings in London, England. Good evening, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis, and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the weekend edition. Topping the news tonight, Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie traveled to London this past Thursday to meet face-to-face with officials of Hutchison Whampoa and the Mediterranean Shipping Company. The goal was to discuss the status of the multi-billion-dollar Bahama resort in western New Providence and the Freeport Container Port in Grand Bahama. The Prime Minister explained what was discussed in those meetings in this report from our Altaviz Munnings.
A very complex set of negotiations is how Prime Minister the Right Honourable Perry Christie described his high-level meetings in London, England this week. The progress of the multi-billion-dollar Bahama project was high on the agenda. The Prime Minister noted that his administration supported the lawyer's request for the court to seal documents in the current Bahama deal, even though he said it would be a difficult process. Mr. Christie said his cabinet delegation even learned more about Bahamas' potential new world-class hotel and casino operator.
We were informed as to the company itself. It is obviously multifaceted in every which way. It's a conglomerate. We are unable to speak at this stage as to who they are, because again, negotiations are taking place in Beijing and in Hong Kong, and for that matter elsewhere, with respect to an agreement being arrived at. The government of the Bahamas has impressed upon the bank, Exim Bank, the importance of our participating as much as possible insofar as knowledge of what is taking place, so that we are in a position at all times to protect the interests of our country. We are well advised by the best of the best when it comes to law. We are not taking anything for granted. We are taking maximum steps to protect the best interests of the Bahamian public, particularly those who were working, those who were credit subcontractors, okay, and those who had franchises in the Bahama complex.
The Prime Minister said his administration is satisfied with this international casino operator's reach, reputation, ownership, and customer base. And once the due diligence is done and the company is selected, the government feels the operator will make an impact on the Bahama project. The Prime Minister and his delegation, which included the Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, the Ministers of Tourism, Grand Bahama, and Education, Science and Technology, met with Professor Milford of London's School of International Diplomacy. Mr. Christie described the meeting as fascinating, as the professor's recommendations will propel the College of the Bahamas globally.
The professor began by continuing discussions he had with Minister Mitchell about training diplomats, and it evolved to the point where training diplomats in the Bahamas, with the possibility of the College of the Bahamas, University of Bahamas, becoming a center of training for international diplomats. And so the Minister of Education had quite a dynamic discussion on that subject. We indicated to the professor that as he spoke about possible collaboration with universities in the United Kingdom, and he talked about others who were doing it, we spoke to him about advanced discussions we were having with the University of Miami about establishing a medical campus in Grand Bahama.
And speaking of Grand Bahama, the senior government delegation in London met with officials of Hutchison Whampoa and the Mediterranean Shipping Company, owners of the Freeport Container Port, which is expanding its reach on that island.
We have agreed a date for breaking the ground on commencing construction. That is going to happen, we think, sometime in the month of October. Most certainly, we're looking forward to further discussions to really anchor that particular date. We spoke about a training academy in Freeport and the difficulties they had. We indicated to them that by greater collaboration with the government, we could bring about better results more quickly. We had a full discussion on the way forward with respect to Phase 5 and possibly Phase 6 of the expansion of the container port. Along with Mediterranean shipping, we had discussions on other subsidiary industries that could come about with respect to the port. We discussed timing again and what we have to do to bring about the start or commencement of construction, and we feel very good about it because all through this we've been looking at the creation of good jobs, on a sustainable jobs for Bahamians.
The Prime Minister and his delegation also discussed Carnival Cruise Line's application on constructing a cruise port in East Grand Bahama. It's a $200 million development that will employ thousands of Bahamians. Altaviz Munnings, ZNS Network News.